Now, in this school of Nakon internal martial arts, each man being able to ejaculate once a month sounds reasonable, you know, because you don't lose that much blood. However, you know, I don't think that that's a level that you want to be stagnant in. I think that, you know, you want to be able to continue developing your discipline, because there are much higher levels of spirituality to experience. So that's just a little bit about that. Now, and there's another thing in another video. I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that I learned in school, studying as an engineer. But and one more thing, that in each ejaculation for a man, in each sperm cell contains 37.5 megabytes of data, of DNA information that goes into that sperm cell carries. Now, 32.5 megabytes of data is also a frequency. And I'll get into that. I'll get into that a little bit more detail in another video. But so in each ejaculation, it's calculated to be at 1,587.5 terabytes of data that goes into one sample of ejaculation. So, you know, you really want to consider the data, the frequency that's being held in the essence of your life force being. If you decide to ejaculate, and sometimes, you know, you can't help it because it's like you may be having a wet dream or something like that, which, you know, I don't want to get too much into it, but let's get into discipline in the mind and spiritual concepts. But you want to keep that in mind, that each sperm cell has 37.5 megabytes of data information, DNA information, that, you know, that can go into creating a human being. So don't get me wrong, I don't want to sound like that I'm completely knocking the human race and reproduction, but I do promote discipline in order to be able to experience the spiritual the spiritual enlightenment. You have to have discipline. So that's something to keep in mind. 1,587.5 terabytes of data. You want to keep that in mind. So basically, you know, and it's a frequency that goes along with it that's carried all throughout our bodies. And I hope I'm not talking too much. It's a lot that goes into it. But that's a little bit about my theory in relation of how sperm is related to plasma. When you look at plasma, a sample of plasma, it looks kind of like a sample of sperm. So, you know, for what I'm getting is that sperm and semen is dissolved back, that isn't ejaculated from a man's body, is dissolved back into the bloodstream. So, you know, I think that's one of the reasons why I think that there is a connection scientifically. Now, I know spiritually that, you know, holding on, practicing abstinence and celibacy is definitely a requirement in order to maintain spiritual enlightenment. And there's more that goes along with it. I don't want to get too far. I don't want to get too deep into it because I think I'm making this video a little too long. So to close out this video, I want to talk a little bit about relationships. Now, when I say a relationship, the first relationship is with self, is, you know, with your being. And as you practice, you know, being on the path of ascension, cultivating your spiritual energy, and going on the path of enlightenment. You know, we just talked about our connection, scientifically showing how we have a connection to the stars. And so in our relationship with ourself, because we have cells that exist within us, and these are like little versions of ourself. So you want to make sure that you're being how can I say, you're being a good master to yourself, because your cells are following your lead, you know, your conscious lead. And when I do, what I mean by that is, you know, breathing, exercising, eating healthy, things like that, making sure that we are nourished, making sure that our cells and our body are nourished. And then also practicing that sexual mastery, because that that frequency and that nutrients, the essence that exists within our sexual fluids goes into our bloodstream to help, I guess, to help enhance the network that exists, that our cells exist in. So, making yourself more rich, basically, is a way to put it, making your cellular community more rich. So that's the first level of relationships. And then with relationships with other people, you start to recognize when you're around someone, how do they make you feel. And in the process of ascension, I'll probably get into this in another video. In the process of ascension, people are talking about moving into the fifth dimension. The physical earth, the whole world is moving into the fifth dimension. And I'm not sure if people are saying that we've already done it as the masses. Now, a lot of the information that's out there, it's already being practiced, but now because we're in the information age, it's being released to the masses. So, now it's like a collective consciousness, a collective ascension into the fifth dimension. And people talk about, you become more sensitive to things. And basically one of the things is like choices. And when I say choices, I mean actions and thoughts. So even if you're around someone, and you're having thoughts, and you being sensitive to the environment, you start to recognize if you're having the right thoughts or not based on the feelings that you have. And you also, like for me, for example, I give my experience, because it's very, let's get into the spiritual part. And, when you're around someone, if you're having the right thoughts, you can sense, you have a really good feeling of oneness. When you're around someone and you're having the wrong thoughts, sometimes, and say like you have a guilty conscience and having the wrong thoughts, I actually end up sensing one of my cells or a group of my cells or a community of my cells being hurt. So basically, and it may not necessarily be in my heart. It could be, somewhere else in my body, but I think it's my body, using my body as an instrument to let me know that I'm going the right way. And when I say going the right way, actions and thoughts. So, that's basically what I want to close this video out with is, remember, our cells are like transmitters. They're receiving and transmitting information. So if I'm sitting with someone, we're sharing a cellular communication or cellular connection. And remember, this is spiritual concepts that I'm just trying to explain scientifically. So, if I'm sitting with you, right? You and I sitting and having a conversation. We could be speaking, but in the back of my mind, in the back of your mind, we could be having different thoughts. We could even be having a battle or anything. You know what I'm saying? Depending on our level of our connection, and basically letting us know, within our imagination, we can check within ourselves to see like, what's happening in our subconscious or in our unconscious mind, and then, paying attention to our body, using our body as an instrument because of us becoming more sensitive and projecting astrally, because we exist on the astral level and in a level beyond time. So, as you're watching this video, we're actually sharing a communication. We're sharing an energetic connection right now. And, listening to the very subtle, because some of the signals are very, very subtle that goes on inside of our body that lets us know whether we're going the right way or not. So, this is some very, very fascinating stuff. Again, I'm just trying to explain spiritual ideas scientifically. And, I'll get more into some of the things that I learned in school, because I would really like to see people have a better understanding of the spirituality and the things that are happening around us, especially in going through the global ascension of us, entering into higher dimensions. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this video out, with saying, make sure that you're kind to yourself. You know, it says like in the Bible to love thy neighbor as if they were thyself. And I think that you know, that's a spiritual message of saying that how we're all interconnected. We share the same air, though, you know, those elements that exist in the air. We share those, you know, we probably share some of the same cells of our ancestors. And basically, you know, be kind to yourself, treat yourself good, you know, and stay focused on well-being. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. Hopefully you guys learned a lot from out of here. There's a lot of information that went into it. Stay strong on your spiritual journeys and continue developing and on the path of ascension. So until next time, peace and be blessed.